What You Missed When You Didn't Exist. I am Corbett, and I am 54? Yeah, 54 sounds right.
Yep. And I'm Lucy, and I'm 24. Woot woot.
So you say.
Yes, making it halfway through my 20s. Woot woot.
Oh, boy. Give it 5 more years, and that whoop, whoop becomes a whoa, whoa.
Hey, you almost 60-year-old, you'll get ready for that senior discount,
Oh, yeah.
sucker.
I'm getting that early bird special for sure. So let's talk about old people.
Old people.
And by old people, I mean crazy people, because old people are crazy.
So not boding well for you. Okay.
Now, I'm going to talk about a guy named Evel Knievel,
Okay.
or specifically Robert Craig Knievel, but everybody knew him as Evel Knievel. He was a daredevil. A daredevil, Lucy. Do you even know what that means? People jumping off of things, flying through things, doing really dumb things.
Okay.
He was born in 1938 and died in 2007. So he lived a pretty long life for a guy who risked it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he was in the Guinness World Records for the most survived human amount of broken bones in a survived situation. I think it was like
So
500.
rough.
Yeah, it's pretty
Terrible.
rough. He went through a lot of bones and he crashed and broke a lot. Actually, I think one of the little notation stories I remember reading about was as a kid getting started, he jumped over a box filled with rattlesnakes and landed in it.
Nice.
So he's a guy who's willing to take risks. And honestly, that's kind of the cool aspect of the daredevils. I don't think you really ever saw too many daredevils growing up, but I was like normal, I think, for me. Evel Knievel wore a white jumpsuit, white helmet with red, white, and blue striping, like blue stripes with stars on it with red outlines. So
So kind of an
very
Elvis look, but with stripes instead of sparkles.
yes. And you could definitely see there was never sparkles because he was like when he was flipping over or falling onto stuff, you could see it was like just a standard jumpsuit. It was designed to take a little abuse, but not designed to show off.
Mm-hmm.
He was known for jumping things on the motorcycle. He did a lot of other stuff, but he was specifically known for jumping over cars, over trucks, buses, and everything else in between. It seems like he always went with landmarks or objects, like singular objects, that he to get all the way over it.
Okay.
And unlike a lot of people now, because there's stunt drivers and stunt coordinators who do this stuff now, so it's not like, oh, that's nothing big. Well, for him it was, because back in the day, you didn't do math. You just kind of pressed on the throttle or turned the throttle and took off and guesstimated you might make it.
Nice.
Nowadays the stunt coordinators and stuff, they have mathematicians on staff who like calculate all the probabilities and how it's going to go and what's going to happen here, there, and the other way, so they know what's going to really come of the jump or the attempt at whatever the stunt is.
So
They know the mass to velocity ratios and stuff like that. But back then it was definitely I could probably make that.
nice.
But I think he got, okay, we did look this up just before we started the show because I knew you were going to ask, and I actually didn't know. He was arrested for stealing hubcaps as a young man. In custody, apparently the jailer always nicknamed everybody, and he was nicknamed by the jailer as Evel Knievel. So, because he stole something.
In jail, there was another guy in the same night, and his name was William Knofel. And so
Oh.
they had Awful Knofel and Evil Knievel in the same jail cell.
Good to know.
Yep.
Good to know. But the reason why I'm covering him is because I actually kind of remember it. In 74, he made an attempted jump over the Snake River Canyon, which is in Twin Falls, which is kind of funny, or it's in the Twin Falls area,
Yeah, in
which is kind of
Idaho.
funny to me because I had no idea about the area. Now I know it almost intimately. I had no realization of what it's a canyon, so it must be the Grand Canyon or an extension of the Grand Canyon or something. And I think there was always a rumor that he was going to jump the Grand Canyon. And I think his son later did jump the Grand Canyon.
Oh,
Robbie Knievel did jump the Grand Canyon on a motorcycle. Now, the attempt, this is the weird part to me, because as a kid, I didn't understand how it was a motorcycle. As an adult, I still look at it and like, I guess it's a motorcycle if you count that there's a wheel, but it looks like a rocket. You can go look it up online. It's a YouTube video, and there's plenty of footage of it. They put him in this sort of little short rocket with wheels on the bottom, and it fires off. They said it was steam powered, which actually made me wonder how that worked too.
weird.
But it blasted off, and it was going to launch a parachute, and he would land on the other side of the canyon. What happened was when it blast went off, it instantly knocked out his parachute, or kicked it out, so his parachute went off as the launch was going. So he almost immediately nosedived straight into the canyon. And he was hospitalized after that. I don't know if he actually was hurt, because I watched the footage and it doesn't, I mean, it seems like everything's kind of a soft landing. He lands in the water. They row boats out to go get him. But see, I found out in Vegas, there was an attempt he did in Vegas to jump over the Caesars fountain.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a well-known mark. And he made the jump, but when he landed, he like flipped over the front of the bike and he broke a few bones and had to go to the hospital. I found out from a interview with his manager that they knew he was fine. Like, he's got some broken bones, he'll be fine. But they released like he's had a concussion. He may not come back. We don't know, because ultimately, and his manager points it out, if you put out in the news, hey, Evel Knievel basically made the jump and is kind of bumped up and he's fine, is not going to be as exciting as Evel Knievel's in a coma and may die.
Yeah, that would make sense.
So interesting to note that he utilized the press in a way to make sure people were way more interested and excited about him not making stuff. And I think that is something he learned to live with too, because it looks more interesting for people for him not to make those jumps, not to make the event happen. It just seems silly,
Mm-hmm.
because the whole point of watching him is to see it.
Yeah.
But Evel Knievel was incredibly popular as a kid. So popular, there was a toy made, and it was a wind up motorcycle, like a doll on a motorcycle with a ramp, and you wound up the ramp and then launched the motorcycle, and it would take off. And it was the coolest toy. Okay, to me.
Okay.
But I don't think they ever made the Sky Cycle. They called it the Sky Cycle, that rocket that he used to launch over the Snake River.
Mm-hmm.
I'm unaware if he ever did it again. I don't think he did.
I think after that, he kind of mellowed out a little bit and was trying to raise more like awareness to help out people.
Yeah, he did work as an insurance salesman at one point in his life. I don't know if it was
So
before or
ironic.
after.
So
Yeah,
crazy.
very, very, very ironic. So it would be, I mean, as an insurance spokesman, that would be pretty good. Like, hey, you know how bad that was for me, and think how bad it could be for you. You should get insurance. That's not a bad idea.
Yeah, that's
But he was
crazy.
definitely a guy who was interested in being alive and living life. But he was born in Montana and died in Florida, retired. A little bit of history there. But now that you've learned how to live, Lucy, and it's the future,
The future. What a world.
what have you and your generation done to live the life?
Well, see, it's interesting because you bring up the fact that you had so many daredevils to look up to and daredevils that you were like, whoa, that's so cool. Because everyone, I think at some point, there's just this generational idea of, well, I'm going to go do this stunt because that sounds super cool, which is how we get YOLO, which is now so old. But there's so many people filming all the time. So on TikTok or on YouTube, everyone's doing all of these stunts because they
Mm.
think it's what's going to get them famous. It's what's going to get them attention. It's going to give them all of these different things. And it's so crazy and so wild to me. But also, we kind of have a personal connection with daredevils because my great grandfather and your grandfather-in-law?
Mm-hmm.
Yes? Okay.
Yeah.
He was a daredevil and he was in Idaho and he was out on those sand dunes out in St. Anthony, and he was
Mm.
doing all these different stunts and stuff. So I wonder if it's just if you're built with that mindset, you are going to be doing these stunts and just trying to live your life to the fullest. Because what's life if you're not living it?
I don't know if I would say it's a mindset, or I don't even know if I would say it's machismo. I think the best example I could say of the effect, and I don't even think it has to do with cameras on you or anything. The TV show Psych. There's an episode, and it was totally just a small piece of the episode. I think it was the Daredevil episode, actually. Maybe it wasn't. I don't remember. They had a Daredevil episode that was very much a play on Evel Knievel. But they had a bit in the police station where one of the characters jumps over a chair. Another guy's like, "Hey, I bet you can't jump over two." And a few seconds pass, and there's like 5 chairs, and everybody's chanting because it just kind of escalates. Like, I could do that. I could do that. Him as a kid jumping over a box filled with rattlesnakes, that is kind of a thing. I don't even know if it's a generational thing. I bet if you did it with your kids in class, like, hey, I can stack these cups 10 high. Can anybody stack them 11? Somebody's going to try to do it because why not?
True. Gotta have that one up.
Yeah, it's a combination of the one up and the I think I could do that. I saw you do it. And honestly, you were the same way. You and Riley had not learned to ride a bicycle. And as soon as Riley, your younger brother, knew how to ride and was riding around, you were like, "Well, now I can do it." And you just started doing it.
Well, yeah, but Riley was always my test dummy for stuff because if he got injured, I knew not to do it. That's called being smart.
The family love is strong.
That's how it worked.
I'm just saying it's the inclination that you see somebody do it, so you want to try it, obviously. And if they did one, then you could probably do two. And then if you did two, then they can probably do three
This is
and
true.
over again until somebody gets hurt.
And see, that's how it always goes. You have to have someone get hurt first, and I am more cautious, so I'm not jumping out to do all that. Living vicariously through someone else is always the goal, which is why daredevils are probably so popular and why we enjoy watching people do these stunts because we're like, no way they're doing that because we know we're not going to do it ourselves,
Mm.
but it would be safer to watch someone else do it. Maybe you attempt it yourself, but I think it's just seeing it, which is why like Cirque du Soleil acts are so popular because you're
Mm.
seeing all these people do these crazy stunts and you're like, no way. And you have the people that live through it. Like I know Tom Cruise for the latest Mission Impossible movie that he's doing. I think it's the
Mm.
last one. He has done all of his own stunts, and there's this one stunt where he has to jump with a motorcycle, kind of like Evel Knievel did in that jump across the canyon. I don't know which canyon Tom Cruise is jumping across, but they set up this ramp, and he goes and he drives, and he has to go lift off and use a parachute to land down. And Tom Cruise is doing the stunt, and he wanted to perfect it so it looked good for the movie. And he did one take, and the director thought it was good, it was solid. And Tom Cruise is like, no, I can do it better. And he keeps doing it. And he does 12 takes of launching this motorcycle off of a cliff and going down. And so they damaged 12 or 13 motorcycles for this one stunt that Tom Cruise wanted to perfect in this movie, which is crazy.
He's a perfectionist,
He's a
from what I hear.
perfectionist. But also, that's crazy that he does his own stunts and he's,
I
old.
suppose he could be an adrenaline junkie to a certain degree too.
Yeah,
I don't know.
all those
Never
things.
been a junkie on adrenaline. I don't have enough adrenaline in me, I don't think.
Like you've been taught to rein in your adrenaline because you're already a big guy. So if you get hyped up on adrenaline, people think you're a crazy person and a giant crazy person at that,
Yeah.
which is, scary.
Well, if anything I will say that sticks with me from Evel Knievel is don't be afraid and live life as much as you can. And that's a pretty good statement.
Yeah,
It's hard to not be afraid because there's a lot of scary things out there. But sometimes you got to take a little risk and get out and try.
true. But maybe don't do stupid stunts or eat Tide Pods because you think you can.
I don't know if eating something counts as a stupid stunt, but yeah, I guess.
I would say it does.
Well, I know guys will do the spicy food thing. I will attest to that one.
Well, yeah, but you gotta live. You gotta live
Yeah.
life by eating different foods, even if it's the spiciest pepper on earth and it'll kill you. But people still do it.
Uh, okay. Well, for what you missed when you didn't exist, get out there and start living.
Or live through someone else. You can choose.
Let somebody else be your test dummy.
Yeah, exactly. Survival of the fittest.
Oh boy.